In a world full of noise and uncertainty, IG is the investment platform that backs you. Forget the dubious tips from that guy down the pub. Get real-time insights, analysis and tools. No more fat cat brokers clawing your gains. Pay zero commission on your investments. Switch to a platform trusted by investors for over 50 years. IG. Trade, invest, progress.
Hedge funds are going up.
Hello everybody, it's Wednesday, 11th of March. You're tuned in to the Rich and Piers show to cover all things Oracle, CPI, and of course what's going on in Iran, as well as covering the US Open. 1 hour earlier than normal, hopefully you are seeing this. It's done havoc with my lunch. I don't know, do you have lunch before, do you have lunch after?
I don't know, mate. You always have lunch seemingly just 5 minutes before we go on air, which is extraordinary.
I was starving, so went out and got some salad with a friend, and there was, oh my goodness me, there was a City of London police stand. So we've got a new thing here, and I told him all about the show, and he went, oh, you do it with that guy Piers, don't you?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, I do. So he's given us this. Now, anytime you make a terrible call, then you have to use this for the rest of the show. You have to take a drink. So it's City of London Police for some of your terrible calls.
All right, well, that means that you just never stop drinking.
Today, it goes out to Maturin. Maturin saying, don't get involved in Oracle. Stay away from Oracle. The trend's against you.
Who said that?
Maturin.
Was that bloke yesterday?
That was that bloke.
Oh, yeah, because the technicals didn't make him feel all warm and fuzzy.
Exactly.
Listen, an educational experience for those who rely solely on technicals. Technicals will smash, fundamentals rather, will smash you right in the face. What does that say? IG official. Oh my God. Oh, yeah, okay, got you. Yeah, so technicals are there to back up fundamentals, not the other way around. But I think we should probably talk about Oracle in 5 minutes' time, so we can give people time to join in. Let's talk about the most boring subject of all, the inflation numbers. Yeah,
CPI could not have been more boring today. We'll
proper boring.
We'll get the numbers up for you, but basically all you need to know is they were in line. They couldn't have been more in line. And here we have it. This is where you always get confused, isn't it? So on the right-hand side is your expectation. That is 0.2%. It came in at 0.2% on the core month-on-month. The year-on-year came in line at 2.5. Now, I would imagine these will be the last times you see CPI as low as this. So enjoy it while it lasts.
Ooh, big call.
You
like
got
it. I mean, CPI, obviously, this is the one that includes food and energy. Is obviously going to tick up next month, isn't it? Now, listen, today is an absolute zero in terms of the relevance of those numbers. They're not only are they flat, but we have a whole new inflation paradigm which is not in those numbers. So I don't think the market could care even one iota about those numbers, and we can probably move on.
Backward looking of backward looking.
A zero.
So let's see what it's done to the futures. It's not really doing anything to the futures this morning. Small down on the S&P 500, small down on NASDAQ. FTSE giving up some gains, 76 basis points down back towards 10,300. Then the DAX is the biggest loser of the day, down 1.2, and oil at 85.50. Now that is a blend of not just the front month and the next month. So the front month is higher. The April contract is around $2 higher. So you might hear people talking about that one. Silver down 3% at $85. That's good. That's in the perfect sweet spot where I want it. And Bitcoin back below 70,000. Copper, probably the loser, the standout loser in the commodities. The base metals down 1.6.
So copper, everyone, just as a reminder, of course, is not as much as it used to be, but the expression Dr. Copper comes from the fact that it is the ultimate economic bellwether. So at the moment we have concerns over economic growth. So copper being down makes 100% logical sense.
Right, I think it's almost time to talk about Oracle.
Okay, let's do it. Let's jump right in there. So, do you know what? Actually, I've just read a headline here which says Oracle's earnings deep dive reveals the good, the bad, and the ugly of the AI boom. I couldn't agree more with that title.
Yep.
And it's what a wonderful title, what a well-balanced title, because that is precisely why Oracle has traded like it has. This is not a beautiful, bright, shining story. This is a story that has nuance. It's very finely balanced. But the bottom line is that
give people a little bit of a background how we got from trading at 250
Yeah.
down to 100.
And what did it get to at the highs, mate? Do you remember when we sat on this show and when we talked about it and when it was up 36% on earnings? What was that print?
Is it 340?
Yes, exactly. I was going to say not 240, mate. It got to 353, I think it got to one day. So let's just do a quick recap of this story. Rewind. We had back to April 2020. This stock was down on its lows. It was one of the software as a service companies that was actually a bit of the ugly duckling of the family. It was nothing really to see here, but behind the scenes, Larry and the team had been pivoting towards infrastructure as a service as opposed to software as a service, AI infrastructure as a service. Then they got their golden ticket. TikTok asked them to do their AI, their data center infrastructure business. TikTok's their biggest customer. And the revenue started to explode, and then the rest is history. We went from bring that across, keep going across to the right.
To the start of this year?
Just go down the bottom. Where were we in the lows on that chart? Just right the way down.
Here.
Yeah, where was that? What price?
So that was at say in reality, $120 in.
So $120 in April 2020. Okay, so
2025.
Sorry. April 2025. Apologies. So over the space of pretty much less than a year, in fact, almost, we saw the stock go up 300%, and that included 2 earnings gap ups. When I say gap ups, I mean the stock closed, and then the next day we opened up 20+%, 15, 20%, and there's a gap, and that was because of the aggressive sales guidance. The market at this point was completely ignoring the balance sheet because the market during that period of time was ignoring everyone's balance sheet. All the capex that was being announced on all the conference calls from the hyperscalers was just being celebrated and celebrated.
Yeah. OpenAI was the golden child.
Yeah. I mean, the circular funding deals were just thick and fast. But most importantly, the market was celebrating capex, and these guys were the golden boy or girl of the capex boom. However, we get to the point when the market decides, hang on a sec, the debt is now worth just mentioning. The CDS blowout, and these guys were then sort of the poster child for the market's concerns over the debt being ramped up due to these enormous amount of growth that they've got to fulfill. The rest is where we've all experienced together. Aggressive selling. On top of that, it got caught up in recent times in the unwind from software, which, by the way, doesn't really make too much sense because, as I just said, these guys are infrastructure as a service. They're not software as a service anymore. And that brings us to last. And they obviously had an earnings last quarter was a disappointment, on top of the fact that the market was worried about their balance sheet. So that was a double whammy. And then last night, of course, we got what we needed to hear for those who are long Oracle, a stabilizing earnings report. Don't get me wrong. If there was holes to pick last night, the market would have picked them. This company has a lot to prove. It's a show me story, but there was very hard to pick holes in the report last night. It was beats on every line. It was a raise. It was the bookings are turning into revenue, AI revenue, and it was 30 to 40% gross margin currently, which is actually not too bad considering how much spending they've got on the go. But it all boils down to whether you believe in the next 12 to 18 months of this company in terms of can they execute on the top line and therefore satisfy or facilitate the debt that they've got on their balance sheet.
That's quite impressive. 4 minutes you've gone without pausing for breath.
Wow, there we go. I don't know where it came from.
Do you want to take a
Shall I stop? Anyway, you asked me to do Oracle, which is my baby, so there we go. I'll be quiet. I'm buying more today.
Right, is you going to finish it with that?
I'm going to add to it today, yeah, but I don't know when.
As it opens.
I would imagine it's going to do its usual thing of being going down to it's plus 10.5 right now. When it gets to plus 8.5 on the open, which is almost guaranteed, I will buy more.
So let's look at the comments, some of the analyst comments here. Obviously, we know that the firm has borrowed heavily, right? We don't think the debates around financing are going away anytime soon. But importantly, many of the new AI contracts are structured so customers either pay up front or bring their own hardware, which means Oracle can grow future revenue commitments without taking on the full cost itself. So the CDS, right? So that's the thing that started.
Can we bring the CDS up on the screen?
All the probs, unfortunately not.
We
can try and find one.
Well, I've got it here, but that's the Bloomberg. I can't put it over there, can I?
Well, we'll put that up after the first break.
Shall I just tell them what it is so we can at least you keep talking whilst I do this?
So 155 basis points.
Hang on a sec,
Is that
mate.
right?
Wait.
Where
Right,
does
the 5-year CDS for Oracle, right? Here we go.
Where does that put us in?
Well, it'll be. I
terms of
would
where
imagine it'd be
it's
interesting.
come
I
from
haven't
and
looked at
where
it for a week or so. One sec. It's just a bit slow, right? Oh,
166 basis points was the high earlier this month. 40 basis points a year ago. So that's the thing to watch.
okay, mate. Sorry.
We've gone from 40 to 166 this morning down to 155. If that dropped below 150, you'd start to see some of that positive confidence and momentum gather.
Yeah, agreed. My screen's being a bit weird. We'll come back to that, the Oracle CDS in a minute, but I mean, it's it's interesting, right? I mean, it's also, I just think the analyst responses are worth noting, right? And I think this is a really important thing to communicate to the audience today, right? Because I use analysts. I definitely use them for this, especially for this purpose.
Yeah.
Right. There's hundreds of analysts. Like if you boil them down to the ones that matter, it's probably about 15. And you boil those down to the ones that really matter, it's about 5. Nonetheless, if you've done this for a very long time, you know all the analysts. I read every single comment. It's factored into every thought process. What the analysts have said today is really interesting, right? So you've got the guys who were already, I mean, everyone's price target pretty much is higher. That's how oversold the stock is.
Yep.
The most bearish is, I think, was it BTIG? I need to double check that. Sorry, who basically didn't move their target at all. Which was a bit. It was basically like a nothing note. They said great numbers, but our price target is 160, and the stock's trading at 166. So just ignore that one. JP Morgan, important tier 1 bank. That's an important one, right? They came out. They raised it to buy, right there on your screen, with a 210 price target. Now that's worth paying attention to. You listen to what they wrote in it though, and what they said, it's very measured. They said, this has now been de-risked enough, significantly enough, and it's been sold off enough for us to raise our price target. That's like it's like a dovish hike, if you will.
30% upside,
Yeah.
not to be laughed at.
But what I thought the most interesting of all, obviously Dan Ives is a max bull, and so's Jefferies has got their price target at 330. Those guys are the big bulls. But I was interested to hear what Stifel had to say, and I respect them. They're good. They said they had their price target at 280 already.
Yeah.
And you read the thing today. It says, great numbers, cutting our price target to 220. It's just like, but these are the games that these guys play, right? It's
Using it as a
price targets and analyst stuff is a game that you've got to understand. You've got to understand the nuance of it. But I use it in situations like this to get a feel for what these people are saying, where their vibe was. You've got to understand all the nuance of it. But net, the stock gets to 180 really easily, in my opinion. You said that yesterday.
I said the right price for this.
Yeah, and by the way, we're going to talk about the Nike upgrade at Barclays, because you said that yesterday, and I was looking at the level. So let's move on from Oracle.
This is our biggest position on the book right now.
Yeah.
It's Nike, and it's trading at, well, it was $56.
That must mean you're in charge of the book then.
Barclays raising their target price to 73 from 64. Right, so that gives us $18 of upside. So again, 30%, about the same as JP Morgan are saying in Oracle, and raises it to overweight from equal weight. So is that having an effect pre-market on Nike? Let's have.
I didn't notice. I actually hadn't looked at the Nike stock price for the last month, by the way, and it's actually all I did was quickly look at it, and I went, right, I want to buy that thing. And that was before I saw Barclays upgrade.
Yeah.
So
well, luckily I have.
By the way, can we just have a little moment here? I agree with you, by the way, on this. So that means that we need to get you already are very long, but we don't often agree, mate. So
well, let's look at the position size. So up 2%, they're trading at 57.30. Remember, Barclays is saying that the price target is was it 73? They said.
Yeah, I mean, who cares what their price target is? They're just guessing. But I mean, the point is that the stock's being upgraded by a tier 1 operator at this level.
Yeah, I do care what they.
Do you? Because I mean, they're just putting their finger in the air. aren't they?
No, with somebody like Nike, it's so much easier to come up with a price target than
They say 70, and also, by the way, guys, you've got to remember that's. I mean, to back up what Rich just said, I do care in the sense that you've got to. The price target's got to be far enough away from where the stock is. Like, for example, if a stock gets sold off on earnings or whatever it may be, and say if the stock trades down to 80, and then everyone cuts their price targets, and the price targets are cut to 100, that's not far enough away. The stock will go down another 20 or 10 so that it can climb back up again.
And all they've said is that the stock goes back to where it was in September, even the end of September. Remember, they didn't have great numbers. There was a problem in China in the last set of numbers, and that's hit them. Then, of course, the problems in Iran have hurt them. The tariffs have hurt them. So it's just whenever you see this kind of opportunity, and then the Adidas warning as well last week was the final leg lower.
So can we just? There's a guy called what's his first name? Flood. I should know. Surname is Flood. It really winds me up. He's a very famous Goldman commentator. He's a hedge fund guy. Hedge fund sales at Goldman. So he's the top dog. And he's just come out with a note saying, and this is so true, by the way, saying hedge fund positioning across US equities has created a setup for stocks to rip aggressively higher if we get good news. And it's so true, right? Look, the market is already trying to go higher, and we're in this, and we have the worst news you could possibly imagine in the Middle East. Imagine if we get good news. But it's all about positioning, right? Positioning. And this is, this guy's actually quite good. I listen to him because he's a trader and he speaks to traders. He's got to be accountable.
Let's just take an example from the Financial Times this morning, right? You had all the hedge funds were set up, and they were long Nasdaq, they were long US. That got washed out. A lot of the positioning came to long Europe, long emerging markets. So they were just starting to do well, right, and having a decent year, and then thump. The last couple of weeks has smashed them to pieces. Caxton, right, one of the big hedge funds, Caxton, down 7% in a week on $9 billion. That is not normal. That is when you start to sack people, right? Down 7% on $9 billion. The performances last week were absolutely woeful. What that's done is taken risk off. As we said, when the VIX gets to 24, be careful. That's when risk comes off. And that means the positioning is clean. And that's what our friend at Goldman is talking about. You've got, when the risk goes back on, that's when the market...
And that's when you get, again, it's when you get mispricing, right? Because it's always, when risk comes off, it's the elevator down, right? It's gappy, it's aggressive, it's quick, it's sharp. But when risk comes back on, and for real, right? You obviously get that initial whoosh, but then it'll pause, and overnight it'll drift back, and then it'll go again, and it'll drift back again, and the momentum, right? And these days on the downside, we don't get much momentum. We just get massive gaps down, and then chopping around, and maybe another gap, but there's no momentum to it. And then you get the momentum to the upside. But listen, I hear what he says, and I agree, and I've kind of got that in the back of my mind at all times. However, I do feel like listen, in terms of tech, right? Tech has been off the boil for months now, and you've got to be really careful, because this is what happens. All the fund managers, all the professionals, especially the old ones, get so excited about rotating back into value, which they grew up with, and they're so excited when expensive stocks that they don't really understand are off the boil, and then when they get excited about it, the market rotates back into the tech again, and they get slaughtered. And listen, as long as we don't have an inflationary problem, even if we do have an inflationary problem, that's obviously not going to help the economically sensitive stuff. Nonetheless, if we see a risk on in this market, I would imagine it's going to be led by tech, not, well, that's hard to say. Depends on it.
Sorry, you just chatting to yourself there? Or
yeah, kind of.
Having a conversation.
Kind of, yeah.
So the way to decipher when we are coming out of trouble, right? Let's look at April last year. Because April last year is a perfect example of when you get a huge headline, a big story, the market shits the bed, everybody pukes, it's risk off, risk off, risk off. And this is what you have to watch. You watch the volatility index, right? So we see vol going up through 24. Like I said, that's the pain point. It goes straight from 24 up to 35, then comes off for a couple of days, and then goes again up to 36.
Worth noting, 35, by the way, back in when I started doing this business, 35 is the world is ending.
Yeah.
Right? 35.
We've only seen it higher than once.
Yeah, 35 these days is meh, whatever.
Yeah. Well, because you always get a policy response from central banks.
Well, that's exactly the point, right? So the game has completely changed.
So what to watch for, right? And when the market really starts to rally and you get risk on is this part here. When you're back down and you're crossing through 25 on the downside, right? So this bit's still really volatile, and it's like you can't really put that much risk on. But the hedges come back in, and this is what happens. You get this gradual all the way down, and by the time it gets back down to 22, the market's 20% higher. But it's this bit you've got to really get involved in, from 26 down to 21. So where are we now?
The $1 million question, one that I've never been able to get an answer to, though, from anyone, is what leads what? You show me which one leads what, mate. I can't figure it out. You've got both screens. Which one's leading what?
Yeah.
But either way, it's all the same thing, right? You know, if risk on, risk off.
So for this pattern at the moment, the next move is really important. Is the VIX going to break higher again through 25? Or are we going to see this gradual confidence build and you get some of the momentum back as it breaks down to 21? So keep that on your screens. It's really important to be able to judge where that one's going. That allows you to see where it's going. Lee says, he's quoted me, and it's so eloquent. I'm sorry, it doesn't get more basic than that. That is what happens. The market shits the bed.
Yeah.
In those panic times, and the blood is on the streets in Mayfair. If you go to all the nice restaurants during a crash like that, you get a table easy, because they are not out at their usual haunts when the volatility measure is above 25.
No.
Especially if likes the Caxton are down 7% in a week. That is...
Unless they've got the Apex book, of course, then they just...
Well, that's...
I was looking at the performance of the top 10 hedge funds in Europe.
Did you beat them?
All of them. Every single one of them.
Every single one.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would be fair to say that the strategies are a little bit different and the size of the book, but nonetheless, I'll take it.
Well, the size of the book can be...
Whatever. It is what it is, mate. Money is money. Should we talk about some stocks, some individual interesting things that are going on?
What are we on? We've got... Oh, it's the first race at Cheltenham, though.
Okay. Oh, God. Okay.
It's not a big one. To be honest, the first race isn't great today. And seeing as I won absolutely nothing yesterday, we went to watch it in Victoria, and there was 8 of us. Some really interesting guys, actually. One of the IRs at one of the big gambling firms.
Yep.
He was there. He's been in the business 25 years.
Yep.
There was a couple of horse owners and a couple of hedge fund managers, and then a hedge fund sales from JP Morgan. So exactly what you were saying about UK, the European equivalent. So I had some really interesting discussions with them yesterday, before my third Guinness, probably.
Well, I hope you...
The better discussions were before the third Guinness.
And yes, I will give you a link to my merchandise. Mate, so...
Right, what do you want to talk about?
Well, listen, there's a few things. Can we talk about... I think we're going to talk about Serve Robotics to kick it off with, because I know the viewers want to hear about this, and I certainly know this stock very well, and it's very interesting. And I just realized it's got 29% short interest, which is always interesting when the stock's got some good news.
I've never heard of this one.
No, that doesn't surprise me. This is not in your wheelhouse, mate. So this...
So this is like a small thing.
Can I just make something clear? So... the guy who is the majority shareholder of Illuma was also the majority shareholder of this company. He took this public.
Was?
What? Yeah, because he's a serial. He invests in companies that are good.
Got you.
In the funding rounds. Sometimes he flips them and sometimes he holds on to them.
Right.
I'm not going to mention his name. Fairly certain the Apex crew know exactly who he is. Yeah. He was the key investor in this, and it went public at $2.20 or whatever it was, and then Nvidia told everyone that they had a stake, and the stock went from $2.50 to $25, and then Nvidia said that they sold their stake and the stock went from 25 all the way back down to 5. Since then it's found its feet and got up around the 10 mark. Now, these guys are robotic. They're robots that deliver mail, food, whatever it may be.
Sorry, I thought you were doing the Peter card.
No, some people struggle with the concept of like a robotic box delivering your mail. And it's functional in certain cities in America. The news today, of course, is that they're doing a partnership with White Castle and Uber to help them deliver food. They have, which is obviously a big endorsement. Plus their numbers were ahead. This is a very speculative company with massive short interest. As I said, Nvidia were an investor, so they've obviously done their due diligence on them. So that ticks a pretty significant box, the ultimate box. The fact that Nvidia flipped them doesn't mean anything, right? They made 10x, so they just move on. So it is what it is. I might have a crack at it if it comes back as a trade, but this fits into the category of the very, very high octane, spicy trading category, of which I've been having a lot of fun recently because there's lots of trading opportunities, but it's certainly not one you'd invest in at this point. It's a trading name.
Yes, I think I'll stay well away from that.
Yeah, that's not your thing, mate. Although having said that, every single time you say that, when I tell you that I'm not going to buy a spicy name, 90% of the time, it doesn't work. It works. So
does really PayPal?
Just leave you with that. PayPal's not a spicy name. Although it has acted like that.
I love these things for when you see them in the videos of when it's on a delivery and a car comes and just totals it.
Yeah, that's nasty. That's what you're thinking about this whole time.
Well, it is what you see, isn't it? Like but they're quite sort of cute, the little robots.
Listen. I'm not your guy for sort of. I understand the company and what they do, but I'm not your guy for robots. I can't stand robots. I'm never going to use one, ever. I'm certainly not going to have one in my house.
It's a shame seeing as you think like one.
So lazy. Yeah, robot, can you go and get me a coffee? I mean, what? Can you imagine actually doing that?
Right, why did Hims pop and Novo get hammered?
Because...
Lord Max, they're asking.
Because for Novo to say to the market that they're taking them to court and suing them, and then 2 weeks later say that they're going to do a deal with them is a little bit desperate. For Novo, it's the opposite, right? So it's polar opposite sentiment. Plus, Hims was trading at a ridiculously oversold level with massive short interest. So very different situations and very different read across from the news.
What's your feel now? Which one would you rather be in?
Novo now. No, I'm just sitting there with Novo. I just honestly, I've got stocks in my book that are over on one side, just there, and I just don't care. I've got other things going on. I've got 21 names in the book, so Novo's one of those.
21 names in the book. What's the highest conviction 5?
Oracle, number 1 now. It's moved up from conviction 6 to conviction 8.5. Which is pretty much the highest conviction I'll ever give something, because you can't give 100, you can't give 10, can you?
Okay, so Oracle.
So hang on, levels of conviction. What a great question what that is.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're most welcome. Right, equity book. Here we go. What have we got in the book? Right, highest conviction. Oracle, Illuma, obviously.
25 seconds. Hurry up.
Yeah, all right, mate. I've got some. In terms of today's trading, AAOI. Short, but that's not what you want to hear. DraftKings is up there with the conviction levels.
Oh, really?
Everything's. I wouldn't have it in the book, mate, if it wasn't.
But it's all relative, right?
It is relative.
21 positions. You don't have 21 conviction high.
No, listen, I don't. But I mean, that's all a bit different. Pfizer, very high conviction for this year.
Right.
Ding, ding, ding.
Let's focus then on what is flying today, and it is, of course, Oracle up 11%. Maturin, where are you? Where are you? You're online today, up 11%. Wouldn't get involved. Chart doesn't. What does the chart say now? CoreWeave up 5%, $78. You know I'm only messing. Uber is up 2.8%. It's $74.30. And then Nike, our beautiful Nike, is swooshing higher to $57.30, up 2%. CrowdStrike is up there as one of the leaders, as is PayPal, the good old favorite, $46. Has the deal, it's gone in that one, right?
At the moment, it's a zero. It's a donut. We're waiting for more news. I mean, it was very strange. Bloomberg, who, they all get it wrong, by the way. Even the most reputable news sources have seen it 100 times, especially when it comes to deals, because these journalists like to make a name for themselves. However, it's quite unusual. I can't remember the last time Bloomberg said that there was a confirmed report of a deal, especially when they gave us warning of it 24 hours prior, 48 hours prior. Can't remember the last time that happened. Bit weird.
Oracle, remember the option trade we spoke about yesterday was selling a 135 put to buy a 155 call and selling 2 180 calls. It would have been beautiful. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful. That would have cost you about $1 and you would have made 12. Time to get involved in the options. Get yourself educated on those. Talking about which, how's your day coming along?
Which one?
The day that we're I'm giving the options education.
Oh, the seminar. Yeah, really exciting. We're just trying to confirm the location for the VIP dinner and the drinks for everyone afterwards, because we want to make sure that that's sort of incorporated. But yeah, it's great. I mean, we've got that's all sold out in terms of the dinner and the after thing. We've still got tickets available for the actual seminar itself.
How do people find out?
And I would love, for anyone who's watching to be able to go and have a look. Come on to, there's flyers everywhere. Come into the free part of the Discord and you can see it. You can go onto my Instagram. You can go onto my TikTok. It's all there. The details are on the front page, pinned. And we also have a website which is going live, which I'm very excited about. Connor.
Jacob's been hard at work.
Connor, not Jacob, or Jacob to a degree, but Connor, who's our tech genius, has been working very hard building the most beautiful website, which is going live soon.
Right, back to the moves then. The on the downside, it's the defensives. Yeah. Procter & Gamble down 1. That's as much as you're going to get. Eli Lilly down 0.5%. Nothing sticking out. I'll tell you, actually, from the dinner last night, I'll tell you a little snippet of what one of the hedge fund gurus was thinking. Just a quick look at the smaller names. Well, Micron not so small, but it's on that list. Up 2% at 411. Taiwan Semi up 1%. Strategy up 2.5%.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. That thing is grinding away. So it's the outperformance of that stock is extraordinary.
Plug Power 217.
11694.
So 217. Plug Power has not kicked on since.
Yeah, no, I'm out of that stock. The price action sucks. AAOI, I just made 7.5% in my short. I'm covering some of it. So those of you.
So it's down 7, is it?
No, I sold it up when it was up 14 yesterday, and it closed up 7 or something.
Right. Okay, what else are we watching? We're watching, of course, here is all the hot stocks. We've got Apple up 30 basis points, Amazon up 1, Alphabet trading 307, Nvidia trading 185. Netflix, boring now, $98.
Yeah, I'm out of that thing. The problem with Netflix is that the rally it had off the lows is so aggressive that it needs to consolidate. It can't just keep going higher.
Palantir, managed to close my short. Palantir 151 and change yesterday, so that's up 1% today. Now we've got Oracle up 13.
Damn it. Missed it. I'm trading this other thing. That really winds me up big time.
169.
God damn it.
Then, Marvell. Do you know what? We have not talked about Marvell. That was a beautiful move last week. We completely missed it.
No, I didn't miss it, mate. I just can't. I've followed.
Didn't talk about it in the show, though, did you?
I didn't, because I've told you very clearly about the week before that when you asked me about it into numbers, and I said to you that I love the company, I love the idea, but I'm just sick and tired of the stock. So I can't be bothered with the volatility. There are other things to do.
It just goes from 75 to 95, 75, 95, 75, 95.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean,
were the numbers good?
Numbers were phenomenal. The numbers were phenomenal. But they said exactly what 6 months ago. I said that the CEO has been he's been screaming at us, loud and clear, that their custom chips are in demand, and that's exactly what happened on the call. So I'm just making so much money here in this short. This is so much fun.
What?
Well, why don't you just join in the fun, mate? These stocks this is trading paradise.
The police are outside. They want to for bad chat. That is shocking chat.
Well, it's not really, actually. No, those who are in my community are having a hell of a fun time.
What's going right today?
Well, I mean, it's just so many things. I'm just
Actually,
right now. I'm dealing with this AAOI. I've made like 12% now in the space of, and it's beautiful.
I must admit, we're having a decent day on the book as well. So let's have a look at where this sits. Diageo slightly higher than yesterday. We were sub £15. That's up 1% today. Nothing lightning there. Microsoft trading 407. Remember, we're long 30 shares of Microsoft stock, and we're short one of the 420 calls. So one is paying for the other there. We're making 500 in the short calls. We're down 300 in the stock. I was also stopped out of, I cut another long 30 last week. So that was probably another 300 loss there. That is already out of the bank. Nike trading well today. So we are long $22,000 of that, 400 shares. That's up 2%. Then we've got a load of options positions there, just basically strangles or short. Yeah, short. So I'm short a lot of vol, basically, on NVIDIA, on Netflix, on Palantir. Short a lot of vol, of course, from the Tom Sosnoff School.
Fubo, that's working. Yes.
Then we've got. There's no point in saying Fubo. Yes,
I'll talk about it in a minute.
Doing.
I will, but I've already done that 4 times, 4 days in a row. Told you I want to be long Fubo. So I mean, there's only so many times I can say it.
Oil. We have got an oil structure which expires tonight. This, of course, was the beautiful trade at 4 a.m. on Monday morning when we've got long the 112s, short the 95s. I'm also short a little bit of oil there. So that structure altogether paying about $3,000. And then we've got another oil structure for April 26th, which is long the 90s and short 4 times the size of the $60 puts and short the 125 calls. That one is paying $6,500. No, five and a half. So that's where all the P&L is coming from. We're now up 11,000. But, of course, we've eaten into our capital by 6.5. So all in, all up, 5,500. That's up 5.5%.
Serve Robotics. With all this, we could be making money. And this Serve Robotics, we want to. We need to trade on the open. There's so much money to be made at the moment.
Go on then. Let's hear what you
Serve
think.
Robotics is now up 18%. I mean, it's just Fubo. I mean, I'm begging you to buy some of that. SanDisk, we should short that because it's now struggling. It's just bounced 18% in 2 days. It's too high.
So they're going back to the favourites.
They are, but it's volatile, mate. It's squeezy, volatile nonsense. Look at Oracle, by the way. Good Lord. We've got that, right? We have some.
In my ISA, I do not.
Why don't we have it in the book?
Because you said don't have any going into numbers.
You said this was your favourite stock on earth at $350 a share, and we don't own it at $150.
We agreed that it wasn't going into numbers.
That's got to be one of the best things.
Sorry, do you want to rewind 24 hours and we literally will replay you saying,
no, I don't want
to play this into
numbers. But I said I've got a position, right?
Yeah, a small position,
yeah.
and I said I've got them in my ISA.
Fair enough. Well, that's fine. Whatever. Well,
I said we should.
Should we buy a small clip now? Because it's going back to 180. We both agree on that.
I'm sorry, I cannot buy Oracle up 13% on the day.
No, all right, fair enough.
We should have had the options trade on yesterday. That's the biggest mistake.
Fair enough.
We called an options trade, which was giving us 12x, and we didn't put it on. That's my fault.
Listen, it's quite an interesting tape. I mean, there's the things that are moving are very high beta, beaten up, high beta stuff, and that's why I'm so focused on it. You know, there's a market for everything. Right now, the market is for high beta, beaten up stuff. You know, obviously the semiconductors are having a crack. I'm long AMD versus short SanDisk, and that's working finally today. It wasn't working yesterday, which is nice. So the book is looking pretty good. HIMS, what's HIMS doing today? That's up another 4. Listen, it's a trading stock, so it's like in and out. So forget about that one for the minute. I think we should probably talk about the this whole. I mean, so there's Nebius, there's CoreWeave, and there's Oracle. These are the AI infrastructure names. They're all up big today. Oracle's numbers, Nebius deal with NVIDIA. There's a lot going on there. They're all leveraged plays. So I know you're smiling at me because I'm just talking, but I'm just trying to talk about what matters. These guys are obsessed with Nebius, so I think it's worth talking about it.
Right, take a breath. See if you inhale so you can talk for another 5 minutes.
Okay.
So some of the comments on the chat. Lee saying nap of the day. Romeo Coolio. That could be one interesting. I got second in that first race. Act of Innocence. I put that on for you. £2 each way.
Thanks, matey.
Got second in that. Let's see when Romeo Coolio's playing. That sounds like an interesting one. Hims is truly an in and out, says Peter McElroy.
Yeah, it sure is, mate.
Is that going to come back off?
I'm going to short it again soon. I'm just hoping it goes a little bit higher. 25, I might have a crack at it. This is, by the way, guys, can I just be crystal clear? This is a name that you have to forget about it unless you're just literally staring at the screen and you're trading it intraday. That's all. That's just to be. This is a completely different thing that I'm doing. I've got Pfizer, I've got Novo, I've got Oracle and Salesforce, high quality companies that I'm not touching. Jets ETF, KWeb. This is a whole different thing. This is just in and out, quick.
Right. Producer Phil is going to do a poll on Oracle. Oracle up 13% on the day. Still a buy? Question mark. Wouldn't touch it. Or going to wait for it to pull back, as inevitably Oracle always does. So
well, you say that, but then it's the information. Who was it who said if the information changes, you change your mind?
Yeah.
Very accurate. The information has changed, right? This is probably what in terms of sentiment and positioning. This is aggressively bearish, and the bears are now having to scramble on this pony.
Well,
that's going to go higher.
Yeah, look, I mean that chart tells you.
It's going to go back to 180 in the next few days, easy. We both agreed on it, so I don't know why.
That's purely your opinion.
It is. That's just everything I say is my opinion, obviously.
Yeah. That's the poll of the day. Do you still buy it here?
I'm going to add to it. I'm just waiting for the first 30 minutes of trade to be done, then I'm going to add to it. And the price action in this has grind higher in the PM when the algos get involved, written all over it.
I tell you what would add to the weight of what you're saying is the fact all the debt funds are short this.
That's exactly right.
As their hedge, as their insurance, and I love that. I love that people have no idea what's going on in equity land, are short something, and today it goes up 13% in their face.
Today is really hurting for a lot of people in Oracle. There's a lot of people, senior professional people, who have been getting short software, and this would have been top of their list. I mean, listen, in the retail universe, when I sent out my video yesterday on Oracle in the morning, just giving the preview, it was like, sell your house so you can short the stock, is what they were saying.
Yeah, that's the sentiment.
Yeah, which is hilarious given the fact that they were all the same people were saying buy it at 350, but
Well, if things hurt you in the way that Oracle has done to the bulls, then your opinion does slowly shift, and then you hate it so much. You want it to fail, you want it to go to zero. When in every fact, it looks like, as you say, it looks like it's going to 180. And in a year's
look at it, mate.
time,
I'm going to buy some more of this thing. It's so strong.
Okay.
This is a classic example of positioning having to be reversed. Right, I'm going to buy 1,000 more shares, which takes my position to 3,000 shares. I can't sit here and watch this thing continue to go up.
I just had a text from somebody saying Piers sounds like he's in a good mood today.
Well, I'm actually not feeling that well, but I've got, I don't
sarcasm.
know. Okay, cool. 170 spot.
Still ticking higher, Josh Hampton says.
82, right, there we go.
David's saying, but anyone who went short Oracle back at 205 on the last set of numbers, when it was being touted as a great buy, is still laughing. They're not laughing quite as much as they were.
That's great, but I mean, I just don't. What's the point of that? I don't. I've lost money on Oracle. I stopped out 5 times. I got it completely wrong. What do you want me to say? I bought it back at 148. I'm now back in the money again. It's called trading.
Well, that's if the you are on fire today. If we take some more edits from today's show to put as
well, I spend all day having to field people trying to sort of just trading is, you need to take ego out of trading, right? I've been slaughtered a million times.
When are you going to manage that?
Well, I trade all the time, man. I've lost loads of money. There's no room for ego in this game, man. But there's a lot of ego in the retail world, and wait till you get slaughtered, mate.
Yeah. Very, very fair. You got to leave your ego on the table when it comes to stopping yourself out. And David said, "Gone fishing, the line just snapped." He's got a big one. Right, where are we sitting then? Oil 84.60. What comes out of Hormuz next? So we discussed the mining of the strait last night.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Would you want to be driving one of those boats?
A sea mine is a very tricky thing to try. I mean, land mines are hard enough to find and navigate around. Imagine in a narrow strait full of ships whilst a war is going on. I mean, the mind boggles as to what's going on the actual ground and what the US Navy's having to deal with. Who knows, man? All I know is that the Iranians have made. I mean, that comment from Iran earlier on is just very noisy, but you know, it's their foreign minister or their spokesperson saying, "Look out." What did it say? Well, it's basically the equivalent of them saying, "We're going to 200 oil, so F you."
Because they basically declared war on infrastructure. And that is a concern if Iran start going for infrastructure in retaliation, right? Because the Americans have done it first. The American and Israelis hit the oil depots in Tehran. And so in retaliation, Iran has said that, right, we are going to go for infrastructure as well. His exact quote was an eye for an eye. If they start going for that, are we too early to call this, well, Trump saying that it's won and oil below 100? What did we get out of the IEA today? Or what do we think we're going to get soon?
So someone's just written it's 24 miles wide. The narrow part of it is not 24 miles wide. Anyway, yeah, listen, the answer to that question is we need to remain very, very careful.
Yeah.
Because especially when it comes to oil, which of course is the market right now. So in the back of my mind, I sold some oil earlier on when it was up whatever it was, 87.90, I think. Very small clip.
Okay.
Because I'm keeping my head in that game. But I'm being very careful and respectful of it, because I don't know.
That's a good way to put it.
It's hard. You can't be punchy about it because we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's kind of very much out of our control. So, not kind of out of our control. It is 100% out of our control. So yeah, I mean, listen, it's a spicy animal that we're playing with here.
But let's look at some of the headlines that we've had, which have caused big moves, 10% moves, and then retracements. So the one yesterday that the US has managed to get a ship through, was a lie.
Yep.
And oil dropped to what, $76 on the back of it.
Yeah. Was that it was a lie, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was a lie. Yeah. And then we've had an attack. A successful attack, hesitate to use that word, on a container ship today from Thailand.
Oh yeah, crikey, I saw that, yeah.
So, you know, it's still spicy. What do you think oil could peak at?
Well, I mean, I think I keep returning to the maths that you and I did live on the show yesterday. And so it boils down to how long is this going to go on for? If it's weeks, then we're too high. We're too high even here. If it's months, then that's a different conversation. So I just don't know. I mean, listen, these numbers, Qatar, who are obviously a sensible voice in the room, said, you know, this oil can easily go to 150. What Iran say about oil going to 200 is emotional, inflammatory nonsense. But none of us have ever seen this situation before, so it's hard to say what it's going to go to. I really hope that, you know, but yeah, listen, you just have to be very respectful of it, I think, at all times.
And just going to show everybody the story we got from the FT earlier, of course, about the IEA release. So we haven't had confirmation of this yet, have we?
Well, I mean, again, the information is so difficult to digest. You wake up and it says the IEA have committed to 182 million barrels. Then you read another one that said 212 or something. And then I read another one that says they've got a range between 300 and 400. And then yesterday we were dealing with the fact that the number was 400. Who knows? I mean, it's just a sea of dodgy news, quite frankly.
A sea of dodgy news.
Yeah.
A lot of headlines.
You love that, don't you?
Yeah.
You love a really cheesy pun.
Yeah, trying to get this across. There we go. Right.
You can see what oil literally is, which is, it's just really ignoring everything right now. I mean, it's not ignoring everything. It's obviously had a massive rally, but, with people calling it to 200, it's pretty extraordinary. Extraordinary times, mate. Right? Look at AMD. That's nice.
Here we go. So, hearing the largest release of strategic oil reserves in its history, which is what we know already. And we're meant to hear on this later this afternoon, aren't we?
Yes, that's correct. Meant to being the operative words.
Here we go. If no member state object to the IEA's plan, it could be announced on Wednesday afternoon. So expect a headline later today that it's between 300 and 400 barrels, 300 and 400 million barrels. The 182 number comes from the move in 2022, I think, after the Russian invasion. So that's where the 182 number
Got it. Yeah. There's a lot of numbers, a lot of news items flying around. I think, I mean, I've got the hedges on, and the reason why I'm so focused in these small caps that are completely unmarket correlated and really burnt out is that for that exact reason. Do you want to be trading a crowded, popular, large cap that's very, very sensitive to the news flow? No, thanks.
Nope.
No. And obviously that is where I differ from the likes of Balyasny, who are down 3.9% in the last week, because these guys have to trade massively liquid names because of the size of their books, so they don't have the luxury of trading small, beaten up stuff and sort of dicking around. And people, obviously, these people are managing serious money in serious size, so they've got to be long all the stuff that I just mentioned. It's a tricky tape. Look at Serve Robotics. Good Lord, this is going to be a serious short squeeze on the go here.
Right, let's take a quick look at the UK as we like to do at this time every Tuesday and Wednesday. Legal in general, bad numbers there, down 6%. So giving up the gains there, legal's not great numbers at all. Smiths Group the same, down 6% on the back of numbers. Then we've got BAE Systems down 2%. AstraZeneca, so the heavyweights. Rolls-Royce also down 1.7. Reckitt's, bad numbers last week from Reckitt's. They were down 1.6. So on the positive side, Pearson, Rolls-Royce back above £5. You have Shell winning as well. And then good old BT Group is up there as well. Rank obviously having a decent day at the races yesterday, up 30 basis points. Not really many of the winners coming in. So the bookies probably had quite a good day. All right, sir, 5 minutes to go. Anything, any final thoughts? Because, of course, we're not going to see each other, thank God, until next Tuesday. So what have we got?
Thank God, but you really do not mean that.
What do we have to think about over the next 4 or 5 days then?
What have we got to think about? I mean, I think that we're just going to. I mean, I'm quite excited about oil having another rally. If I'm honest with you, there's
really?
a sick trader in me. I'm short, by the way, and I want it to rally because I'm only short a little bit.
Yeah.
And if it collapses from here, I'll be annoyed. That's my psychology. Well, if oil rallies 10%, which would be a nice, decent little go, I would love that. Because A, the market would sell off, and I'm short the stuff that's going to go down. And B, I could sell more oil. That's my thought process.
Basically, what you're saying, well, it's funny because I had a text message exactly from my friend Jamie saying the exact same thing earlier, that if oil gets back up to 100, then we have to get properly short.
Well, yeah, I mean, you say that, but I say what I'm just said with with the caveat that I've got a respect for the situation that's going on here, right?
Yeah, of
we
course.
can see another price break if the wrong thing happens. But I think the market knows now what the intentions are from people who do have quite a lot of oil to release onto the market.
Yeah.
Over a short period of time.
The market doesn't usually make the same mistake twice. It doesn't get spooked by the same thing twice.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons why oil hasn't spiked on as it used to do in the 90s on the back of any of these major blowups we've had in the Middle East, because they know that this was. So that was why it was surprising to me that it did. That this time it went full bananas to the upside.
Yeah.
It was, which was not only was it aggressive, but it was most aggressive ever.
It's these stupid momentum
Yeah,
algos as well, who must have been absolutely carted in the last week, which I'm absolutely loving. The CTA.
Something makes me feel. Gives me the feeling that you enjoy that.
I love the algos
Me too.
getting killed. Trading should be done by
Look at
people,
Nike.
not
Look how
computers.
pathetic it is. It's so funny. It's the wrong market for Nike, mate. It's economically sensitive. It's just fine, but it's just
Does
not.
it come back?
No, it's fine. It's just up 80 basis points. It's pathetic. But anyway, listen. You have to be careful with this market, and that is it. You have your hedges on. You make sure that you're not long crowded stuff, and you're patient. And if you're a trader, you're having a bull. If you're long only, you've got to be patient.
I know you're excited to get the poll results.
What was the?
Poll results are, what do we think about Oracle after 13% up on the day? 41% of you saying, I'm waiting for a pullback and then I want to get involved. All right, so that's 41% of you want to buy it. Wouldn't touch it here, 32%. Would not touch it, sir. 32%. Still a buy here, even up 13% on the day is 27%. Therefore, 68% of you are looking to buy Oracle against 32% that don't want to touch it.
A lot of Apex people in that poll. Listen, I'd love to know the argument for shorting Oracle here. I'm all ears. The only argument is that they have a credit problem.
Maturin, is the downtrend broken on today's move?
Is he still in the chat today?
He is absolutely. Good old Maturin in
Where
the
is he?
chat every day.
Okay. Yay. Where's our resident
He
technician?
was laughing at you earlier, saying that you've been stopped out 4 times. That's not trading.
What does that even mean? Not stopping out of a trade is not trading. Gotcha. Cool.
People laughing at you as well.
That's great.
So yeah, Maturin, tell us, is Oracle still in a downtrend, even if it closes at 168 today? Well, shall we do? Let's have a quick check. We don't need Maturin to still be. He's off making his cup of tea. So, right, let's see my charting abilities. Oh, well, I can tell you now that that's broken, isn't it? That broken the downtrend? Yes, it has. Bum, bum. Right, here we go. What did Axel say this morning, sorry, Cam? Of the downtrend. There you go. Bosh. I've just answered it. There we go. What do you think, Piers?
Well, it's quite obvious. You don't need, there's no words that need to be applied to that.
That's mega bullish, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm by the way, I've got 3,000 shares. I've got 3,000 more to buy. If it comes back, yay. But I'll keep a close eye on that chart, of course. But I find it very difficult to understand why anyone would be how it can't at least make it back to 180, mainly due to the positioning. Right, the positioning is aggressive. Maturin, he just likes to say said the opposite of what we're
Maturin
saying.
thinks it's still in the downtrend. Producer Phil thinks he can do a better chart than I as well. So
It depends on what channel you want to use. It can be in a downtrend. Who cares? Go short then. I'm long, and I'll see you at 180.
Oh, right. Maturin, come on.
Also, the book's up 33% year to date, so that's
off.
trading.
Let's.
But I
get
think
something on
165 would be an awesome level to add to this. Should we get lucky on that one?
All right. You're Maturin. What are we saying? 180. What do you take? 156. Maturin going for 156. You're going for 180.
Yeah.
Whichever one.
What
it
time
hits
frame
first.
are we doing? Well, I mean, obviously it doesn't really matter because you're not going back 156.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
180 versus 156. Piers versus Maturin. Apex versus Trade Live. The fight is on, the first battle.
Here we go. Well, it's not my first battle. I've got a bunch of them on the go at the moment.
Yes.
Get on, man.
Right, Julian's going short. Bourbon, why doesn't Maturin have a show? Well, Maturin has been on the show. He has given some great lessons. I think they might still be on the YouTube, actually. Yeah, I'll try and think of a prize that we can have.
Great.
There you go, David St. Maturin, one of the best guests on IG last year, far more interesting than Piers has ever been. Right, that is us. 2 o'clock. It's time for the second race at Cheltenham. So that means I am out of here. But it has been fun as always. Remember, be careful in these markets until you see that VIX come back below, I would say 21. Currently at 23. So just be careful. As we come off air, the markets are going higher. Is something out? The P&L is responding nicely here, Piers. What's going on?
What's oil doing? I mean, it'll be a tweet of some kind.
We've just gone 20 points higher in the S&P, and oil is going lower.
Some tweet.
Has anybody seen anything? Well, that's a perfect example. Market's still volatile. Be careful what you're doing out there because we don't want to see anybody get hurt. On that note, we shall leave you.
Thank you, guys. Maturin, well played, sir. Good trading and good banter.
Here it is. 400 million barrels. Thank you, David.
There we go. Wow, it's 400 now. We could confirm the upper end of that range.
So let's see what oil does on that. That's going to be interesting. Remembering that when 400 was mentioned on Monday morning at 5:45 a.m., oil was trading at $110.
Yeah.
Right, so we've come a long way already. We've 110 down to 83. I'm not sure if that necessarily takes them down another 5, but I've got that oil position that expires at 6:30 tonight.
Yeah, listen. I just covered a tiny bit of a different thing, oil thing. But listen, oil is. We need to be very careful, mate. I mean, these headlines are absurd. Yesterday we had a headline from the Energy Department saying that the Navy was escorting ships, and then 2 minutes later it said, "Whoops, that's actually not true." So, and that moved the entire market massively as well. By the way,
this is exactly what we're saying. That the volatility is still wild.
Yeah, but it's more about the news flow, right? And the nature of it and where it's coming from, and it's just crazy. So, as I said, I'm quite happy to stick to some of these off-piece small cap stories, which are very, very defensive right now, weirdly, because they're so unmarket correlated.
Yeah.
Like Serve Robotics having a short squeeze, they just could not care less about what's going on with oil. I've got like 20 names here in the thing on the right. They're all up between 3 and 5%. Versus the rest of the market. Semiconductors are having a bit of a pull. Semiconductors underperformed software, as we've discussed many times, for quite a bit there, right? And now it's having a bit of a pullback. Anyway, are we done now?
Yeah.
Great.
See you later.
Are we done? Yeah. That's good.
Bye.